Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're here in our new favorite hangout spot, Walla Walla Point Park in Wenatchee. Today I'd like to unveil a new project. Yeah, that's fancy, a purple binder. Rachel, thanks. So here's my new book that I wrote. It's 831 pages about the history of my hometown, Pateros. These two photos were taken from the same location. One was before Wells Dam and one was after. So the top photo is from 1964 and the bottom one is from 1967. And I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but for a reference, this power pole here is this power pole here. So you can kind of see where it was before and then what it looks like after.
You can pause the video right here and look at that.
Yeah, and this is the Methow River. And this tip right here is what would become Peninsula Park. The tip of it here, the Methow. And then the old bridge, and then the current new bridge. And then the mountain here is the same there, that didn't change. And right here is the old school. Not sure if you can. There's a glare on the screen, but it's right there, and then it's it right here.
And that little mountain over there, that one that you pointed out again.
This one?
Yeah, that one is Tennis Mountain.
Broken up into chapters here.
It's got a map.
It's got a map, so people know where Pateros is. But I wrote this through the viewpoint of someone who has never heard of Pateros before. So I wanted to be as inclusive and thorough as possible with obtaining information. So the range goes from, it starts around 1885 and it runs through various important events of time, and then there's some 2020 events in here. So it's a wide range, but I'd like to read the dedication for everyone. It says, "To the past, present, and future residents of Pateros, Washington, keep supporting and promoting this treasure." And then other book in the Adam Fritz series, Tales of the Drive-Thru. First I start out with the dedication, and then go to table of contents, brief introduction, and we move to early settlement, incorporation, the China Ditch, the arrival of the railroad, the 1948 flood, and then one of the largest chapters in here was the Wells Dam and Pateros relocation. It is over 170 pages. And then there's a chapter on Pateros schools, the origins of Apple Pie Jamboree, the origins of Alta Lake, and another big chapter here is the Carlton Complex fire. Separate chapter about my time as a council member for the city of Pateros, my 6-year tenure. A section for obituaries for Pateros pioneers and people who helped shape the course of Pateros. And then there's a separate chapter here that highlights events that took place between 1976 and 2020 that didn't fit into any of the other chapters, but I felt were relevant enough. They mainly highlight the changes of businesses over the years. And then finally, an acknowledgements page. I'm really impressed with the color quality.
It's a page turner.
It's a page turner, yeah. Yeah, so it starts out my introduction of what life was like when I grew up, and then it goes into the early history here. Lee Ives and his wife, Raina Fuller Ives, came to the area. There's Charles Nosler. He's the man who renamed Ives Landing to Pateros in 1900 after Pateros, Philippines. And a couple of archive photos from the Okanagan County Historical Society. So it's the newspaper articles that are telling the story. And for example, this one here is talking about the railroad construction in the area. The railroad came to Pateros in 1914, is when the line was completed from Wenatchee to Orville by the Great Northern Railroad. And also included here is photos of the railroad construction. I can get to it here. For example, here's the railroad crew near Riverside, working their way. And it's amazing what the technology, how much has changed since back then. So this was all really labor intensive. They had to use dynamite to blow the rock cliffs and haul in. And here's the 1948 flood. It was real devastating. Here's the old Pateros Bridge, the Metcalfe River, looking south. But it wiped an entire community off the map of Vanport, Oregon. But it was, quite the impact. Just the amount of devastation. Apple Pie Jamboree was on hold for 2 years because of the recovery. And all these chapters are interconnected in one way or another. You know, there's a little bit of overlap. But here's what it looked like in Wenatchee during the flood. And just the amount of damage that there was. And really, there's a lot of moving pieces involved with trying to relocate a town. It's a lot harder than I'm sure the papers made it out to be. But just to make it work. And what if Will's Dam was never built? What would Pateros look like today? How many of these original businesses would still be there, or the original buildings? And here's a model of what Pateros could have looked like. There were two options. One is what we have today with the mall, and here's the other option, is where what is downtown now would all have been a park, an RV park and baseball, softball fields, and camping. And the business district would have been up on the hill, further up on the hill, where the Church of Christ is now. And from the Church of Christ to where the Methodist Church is, that section of town would have been the business district.
Which is one of the areas in town that burned up during the
Carlton Complex fire. New highway. There's the railroad tracks here. The new bridge. Warren Avenue's up here. Woo, that's loud. It's getting louder. Here's a relocated residential section. This is out Warren Avenue is and Riverside Drive area. The Metcalfe River is back here. Ta-da! And here's part of the relocated district. This is the building that's now what was the hardware store. And this was the old the grocery store that that burned down in 1992. Here's a postcard in color. So this was the old grocery store, and there's the library and the old hardware store. That was Woody's TV back then. Woo. where this is. Peninsula Park.
Peninsula Park.
This was before they called it Peninsula Park. Yeah.
What was that?
I remember looking out the window when I was in grade school, watching the construction of the new school.
1987 yearbook of the staff at Pateros.
I remember them too.
Some of these individuals are still there. For example, here's Mike Hall. He's still there. He is the principal of the school now, but when I was in school, he was the PE teacher, and I had him for U.S. history and current world problems my senior year, U.S. history my junior year. And here's a photo for class participation. That's me right there on the edge. So this was during, let's see, I gotta think about this. 3rd grade. I was in 3rd grade for that. This is when Pateros won the football title back in '96. Oh, hey, look at the photos when I was in 6th grade. That's me right there. I don't know if Danny can get a zoom in on that. We all had shirts made. And I still have my shirt. It's in the back closet. It's too small for me now, but I kept it anyway. Students of the quarter, honor roll. Students from, this is when I was in 7th grade. I'm right there. Students of the quarter, this was in 8th grade. I'm right here for math and for science. For students of the quarter. Class reunions are also in here. Students of the quarter, this is when I was in 9th grade. Let's see, my name is Adam, and I'm right there. I don't know if Danny can get a zoom in on that. Yep. And this is when I won the Candy Hearts, my freshman year. It looks a lot better in color because we, the 4 of us are wearing red, you know, for Valentine's Day, so it goes with the theme. And this is an article about when my mom donated $8,000 to the Pateros School District for new books because the levy failed twice back then. And yeah, there's my name right there. So a nice piece of history to include. From sophomore year, student of the quarter for English. Danny. Oh, and for biology. Yeah. Cool.
Right there at the bottom. Right where it's easy to find.
Ah! Ta-da! Students of the quarter, my senior year. We're right here. Went to Valley College online. My senior year, I took English 101 online, so I received college credit and high school credit. It was through the Running Start program. And this is from March of 2005. Is for bond for school remodel. And the reason I included this was that this was the very first thing that I voted on when I became eligible to vote. Because I had just turned 18 the month before this. Well, this is a nice piece of history to include. And here's my my class. That's the whoop. Danny's trying to. I'm right there in the back. This one's in color. So this photo is this here in color. It looks a lot better in color. Color. Now this is cool. I really like this. It's the aerial view. Someone took their drone and flew around Pateros, and I did a snapshot from their YouTube video, and it gave them credit for it. But it shows here's the elementary wing. That was built in '64. It's still there. And then this was part of the '48 edition. And then everything from here on was built in '82. Wow, that fly! That fly wants more screen time.
Must be, yeah.
Rachel, that's a fly.
What am I supposed to do with it?
And then here's a list of scholarships that my classmates earned at graduation, or various awards. I'm right here. And I included this for kicks, because I was the video technician for the high school football team my senior year. So I rode on the bus with the team, and I used my own equipment, but they gave me VHS-C tapes, because that's what the technology was back then.
VHS-C.
VHS-C, and then some awards I received. 2nd grade and 8th grade for responsibility and attendance. A photo of me in kindergarten when I dressed up as a pumpkin, and then also a photo of me from kindergarten playing on a toy castle. Now, I was in the Apple Pie Jamboree parade twice. Once in 1996, my mom and I were in the parade. She was in the riding lawnmower, and we had attached my wagon, metal blue wagon, because I painted it blue when I was a kid. It used to be red, and she tied it to the back of her lawnmower, and I sat in in the wagon, and I was holding a bucket full of flowers and ferns that we got from our backyard there at the house in Pateros. We had made cardboard signs, and we taped it to each side of the wagon, so as you're driving down Lakeshore Drive, the parade route, and the sign said, "Take time to stop and smell the roses." Oh, that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
The second time I was in the parade was in 2017, and that was with my bank co-workers from North Cascades Bank, the Brewster branch. And I held one side of the banner because I was in the front. My co-worker held the banner on the other side, and we walked down. And behind me, one of my other co-workers hauled a little wagon, and it was full of candy that two others would go in and grab and go to each side of the street and hand out to kids. Candy, and I had some water bottles and a few frisbees. So that was cool. So being in the parade twice.
Yeah.
Maybe Danny has some more about parade.
Yeah, I was in it at least once with the Cub Scouts. That's about it. We were in the back of a pickup, just, hold the Cub Scout sign.
Ooh,
I
nice.
was in it once, but I don't remember what for. Might have been the Bluebirds.
Could be.
Collector's item. but if you know someone who's really interested in learning more about Pateros history, there's over 120 years worth of material here, and the book is 831 pages with photos, newspaper articles, and commentary from my experience growing up in Pateros.